I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're diving into the thrilling and emotional world of Shavonne Pritchard's amazing novel. It is called Just Not Enough to Love. This page turner explores love, betrayal, and survival through the lens of Claire Hutchinson, whose seemingly perfect life unravels in a storm of lies and danger. Today, we will uncover the secrets, the twists, and the unforgettable characters that make this a gripping must read. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Good River Print and Media for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful book. The links are below this interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight TV app, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Shavonne, thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Let's start out with the title. I love the title. It's bittersweet, just not enough to love. Tell me a little bit about the genesis of this title.
Absolutely. So my character, Claire Hutchinson, she has it all. She has the success. She has the family. That she's just not fulfilled enough in her relationship with her husband. Him cheating on her since college. And she goes, you know what? If he can do it, I can do it too. And that's why she goes and off to her excursion and, being with different lovers. And she's
Mm,
like, you know what? That's just not enough. I need more.
yeah. So this is quite a intense novel. Is it born out of reality a little bit? Did you borrow from true things here and there, people you know, characters, and so forth?
Actually, no, it was all, from imagination. I am an observer and I
Mhm.
observe, everyday life and I literally just incorporate that with my work. And as soon as I put the pen, to the paper,
Right.
everything just flows naturally.
Absolutely. And living in Southampton, New York, obviously you get to see a lot of the rich and the famous and betrayals
Absolutely.
and all of that stuff played out on the sidewalks of
Yes.
that town and behind the closed doors of those homes in that town all the time.
Mhm.
Betrayal is a big theme and it is pivotal to this story. Tell us a little bit about that aspect of the book.
So the betrayal is my character. She literally has been in a little emotional roller coaster, being accused of killing not one but two husbands. So now she's in survival mode. And then, what I love about the book is at the end when she actually is confronting the killer, who is no one. It's a surprise. No one, anticipates who the killer is and having them come face to face with their guns pointing at each other, and all it is just the scene goes black, and all you hear is just one gunshot. You don't know
Mm.
if it's her or you don't know if it's the killer, and you just like that's. It was like wow, this particular person who framed her for everything, that was a huge betrayal to her.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about the scene going to black, which sounds like a film, and this is a very visual book. Have you envisioned this as a movie?
Absolutely. I, you know, have done pitches before, in the past, and to see, either my name or even just this being on feature film will be a blessing. I would love
Yeah.
for the whole world to enjoy Claire and her trials and tribulations.
Yeah, absolutely. Could even be a mini series or a series, as a matter of fact. Claire is such a great character, and the settings are so great. Who would play Claire Hutchinson?
I would say someone like a Taraji P. Henson or like a Gabrielle Union, those amazing actresses. I can see them portraying her.
Yeah. I could see them fighting over the role. I think it's a terrific role. So I think you'll have no trouble casting this if Hollywood happens to call and wants to turn it into a film. That would be great. Are you thinking about writing more adventures for Claire?
I actually had just finished my last book. It's my fourth book, and it is the ending to Just Not Enough to Love. But this one is going to be called No More Love to Give. She's
Hmm.
done.
Okay, wonderful. And give us the overview of that story.
So this week, I literally had to I don't want to give things away,
Yeah.
but I had to literally revamp and redo the entire book. So this one is the story of how the killer became the killer, why she targeted Claire and her family, and how everything turned out from the past into the future, and ultimately what is going to be her demise at her end.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, so is this a series? How many books do you have in the series? Tell us about that.
This one will be the third one. So the first book is called Too Many to Love, which
Mhm.
was a little background story of the characters, Claire, her family, the friends, lovers, and stuff like that. And then I created Just Not Enough to Love as basically more in depth of, Claire and everything that she's been going through. And then now I have No More Love to Give, which is, ends the entire story.
Amazing. So, what's it like for you when you're writing this? You enjoy living in Claire's brain for a little bit and
I
writing it all?
do. I do. It's intriguing for me because as soon as I start writing, I'm like, okay, what's going to happen next? Even though I get excited because even though I'm the writer, I'm like, okay, is this is going to happen? Then I read it and I'm like, that's amazing. Because I'm just like, you never know what is inside your brain. Your imagination takes you to a whole nother level.
Exactly. And your imagination brings readers to Fiji as well. Tell us about the setting in Fiji.
To be honest, I love the water Fiji, and
Mhm.
that's my inspiration to have the location in Fiji, something that looks amazing, paradise. So hopefully, if it does become a movie, I would love to go, you know, visit Fiji and see the people and the environment and bring Claire to life into Fiji.
Yeah. The NBA lifestyle is depicted in the story as well. Tell us about how you came up with that, whether you imagined it, whether you did research. Tell us about that aspect of the book.
So I have an uncle named Vincent, and he actually looked just like the character, the husband. And I said, you know what? He never was an NBA player, but he could have been. So I was like, you know what? Let me do a little twist and turn. I did a little research, and I said, you know what? Let's make, Claire an executive, and then have her husband be a retired NBA player. That
Mhm.
way, with him cheating, it almost, coincides with him having the fans and the limelight, which she was like, okay, in the beginning of our relationship, it was cute, but now that we're older, we're married, we have kids, this needs to stop. This needs to end. You're not an NBA player anymore.
Yeah. And Claire's twin daughters are part of the story too. Tell us about the role they play.
So I actually have one of the daughters betray actually the family and sort of frame the mother, Claire, with the killer. So
Mhm.
it's like I have not just one killer, I have multiple people, characters who are basically coming for Claire because they're basically saying, okay, you know what, Claire, stop being naive, stop, doing things that you're doing. You're affecting not only just yourself, but you're affecting our lives as well.
Yeah.
And that's why one of the daughters is like, okay, you know what, enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something to stop my mother and all her antics as well.
Amazing. Amazing. Now you have three books in this series. Are these the first three books you've written, or tell us a little bit about your writing career?
These are. So, originally back in 2013, I did write a little short poem back when I was in college, something just to, let loose and get my frustrations out. And then I wrote Too Many to Love as a little backstory, just for fun, like a little
Mhm.
project.
Yeah.
And then it accumulated to two more books after that.
Well, that's great. Like I said, you enjoy living in Claire's brain and in Claire's world and being in Fiji and all the other locales. So I can see why you enjoy it. It's kind of a magical thing writing, creating characters, and they all kind of take on their own lives, and the storylines go places you never predicted. And that's kind of the magic of writing a book. So I can absolutely see why you enjoy it so much. And and you seem to write cinematically. Are you
The gift of the
influenced?
gab, so I love to talk.
And that's great. I think a good talker makes a good writer. If you can write the way you speak, I think that's terrific. Yeah, without a doubt. Are you inspired by any other books or any other films? Tell us a little bit about your inspirations.
Reason why I made the book Just Not Enough to Love because It inspired the movie How Stella Got Her Groove Back, but mine is with a deadly twist. So even though you have the older woman with the younger man, and I said to myself, okay, at the end, what would happen once they got put together? What their lives will depict. So then I love my favorite author was Eric Jerome Dickey.
Mhm.
His writing was amazing. I've been reading his books since the early 90s. And, when he passed away, I was like, oh my goodness, we wanted more as fans. And, you have to go back and just start reading, the things that I already have, as well as Mary Monroe. She's another favorite author of mine. She did God Don't Like Ugly, and she had all these amazing books after that depict from God Don't Like Ugly, even though it wasn't, spiritual, but when you read it, you're like, okay, that her main character, Annette, and then all her trials and tribulations was literally my inspiration for writing as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, you've left your mark with these books, no doubt. Shavonne Pritchard has written a series of books revolving around a wonderful character by the name of Claire Hutchinson. Do you have a name for the series?
I don't actually.
Okay, we'll have to
I
think
have to
of
think
that.
about that some more.
But the book we've been primarily focusing
Absolutely.
on today is Just Not Enough to Love. It is a page turner that explores love, betrayal, and survival through the lens of Claire Hutchinson, whose seemingly perfect life unravels in a storm of lies and danger. It's an amazing book. It's an amazing read. It is highly recommended. And there are two books out already, and a third is coming. So that's great news. Shavonne, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Crawford.
I appreciate your time and your insight. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.